understand how energies are similar in different pantheons, but not that they're one and the same. That you put this value to this. No, I don't really too much do that. And for the people with a metaphysical mind, understood where I was coming from. But if you're in an African traditional religion, you're taught exactly like that in the African traditional religion. So it's a simple set of rules according to how you were taught, and nothing mixes in with them. So when I'm speaking to these are people who are like me, who work systems on their own, and probably looking for tips or kind of just looking like, oh, okay, this is the way he does it, as you know, as it works for him. Not necessarily something that I would practice or that is the right and the only way to do it. You just my energy work and how the energy speaks to me. You see what I'm saying?
There are.
I understand what you're saying. It does piss them off, and for that, I probably haven't done a video in forever, and probably won't do any more videos. That was just really showing them an update of how I'm going in my spiritual journey. Just that was all it really was. More than anything, I'll probably start speaking back on metaphysics and energy work. Cause I really don't even get on the channel no more. Like a lot of these videos that you've seen are probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, no, I'm all get on your grind, man. Get on your grind and start doing the videos again. For me,
But I don't want to offend nobody, so out of respect for the ones that are initiated, there'll probably be no more Rishi videos from me. Out of respect.
I would say, from my perspective, it's a toss up because, from my perspective, you know, it's. Let me pause and let me gather my
recording stopped.
Okay. I just pause it real quick. So we're still having this conversation.
Yeah, got you.
I'm trying to think of what I want to say because I don't want to waste the time. The damn 40.
Got you.
Let me see. Let me think. Because I'm gonna gather my thoughts and then continue. Because I am about creative liberties as to you say whatever it is you want to say on your platform, and ain't no one can tell you shit. Regardless of whether information is incorrect, correct. Like there's a lady that I just did a video on where she was showing how to make your own elegua, but just insofar as
you can't do that.
You get a little concrete.
You can't do that if you're not initiated. You can't do that.
Yeah. So
and you know that mine's bought from the store. You see what I'm saying? You know that mine is store bought because you know that my issue and that my Lego wasn't received from a Babalao. You know that mine's bought from a Botanica.
Yeah.
You know that.
So as much as I disagree with that and I know that has no validity, I respect her right to post whatever it is she wants to post, even if I know it's bullshit.
Spiritual charlatans.
But I also cannot I can't
just let that ride and not address it.
Not even like with you. Let's say it's like the way you practice with having so many altars and having statues of Orisha and stuff. I can say I disagree with that. But who am I to devalue your personal experience? If you had, let me put record because it's getting good now. So let me ask the question and then
recording in progress.
Okay, so now I'm recording again. So what I want to say is I am pro anybody having their own content on their own channel. Ain't no one can tell you what you can and cannot talk about, whether it's valid or invalid. Like the lady that I did in a video where she was showing how to make your own eleguases. And she says that she's not a santera. And even with you, King, and Soul Consciousness TV and everything you are and you represent, there are definitely things that I've seen in your videos, even in the most recent one, that I disagree with the idea of having statues for Orisha and believing that has any validity. But who am I to tell you about your personal lived experiences? I can sit here and say, well, you don't got Chango and there's no De Logun. You don't know what Chango's saying to you because the shells have not been dropped. But if when you go on that table and you pray to Chango and the energy of Chango that exists, or you go to a river and you pray to Ochun or whatever, who am I to tell you?
I have to be careful with that because as a non-initiate, I wouldn't so much go to the portals like that because you have to know.
I would say the opposite. I would say the opposite, brother. I would say instead of having a statue of Ochun, you'd be better off going to Ochun, who is the river, and go to Ochun instead of having something at your house that's been there for go to the river. You want to
Serious?
talk about, yes, you want to talk to Obatala? Don't have Obatala statue in your house. You go to the mountain
Mountains, right.
to
I just didn't want to
Obatala.
defend anybody who's initiated. See what I'm saying? Because I've always been taught that you don't have to be initiated to go to the mountains or talk to the air, talk to the wind.
Hell
But
no.
now I understand the aspect of setting up your own altars without them being properly received or consecrated or blessed. I now understand. Now I understand what y'all were saying.
If that's the
Makes
case,
sense.
logic,
Makes
if
sense.
that's the case, let's say you get a reading right now, and it says that you gotta leave a bowl to Obatala. You don't have to have the Santero or the Babala go to the mountain. All it will say, oh yo, you gotta give a bowl to Obatala, you gotta bring 8 pairs to Obatala. You take your ass, you go to the store, you get 8 pairs, and you take your ass up to a mountain and you give it to Obatala himself or herself, or you take your
Right,
pumpkins
right.
to the river. Instead of at a table, I'm advocating that you take the pears and the pumpkins or whatever, instead of taking it to the to your table, you take the pumpkins to a river and you talk to Ochun
Now,
herself.
what I do is, since I live in Indiana, we're kind of limited. When I'm done with Oya for her 9 days, I will go to the gate of the cemeteries. I'll salute the gatekeeper there, make sure I leave him his offering, and then I'll leave her offering by the gates. 9 eggplants, whole eggplants, if I can, plums, dark grapes. As far as
You're going to where she lives.
right,
In your house.
and
Because I can go to my house, I can be right here and give it to you because I have one. But if it's not initiated, I would say go to where they live
right.
instead of having a statue.
And then for Shango, since I don't have a palm tree, I'll go to the biggest tree that I see in nature that I've ordained for him. So after my 4 or 6 days, I make sure I drop his bananas and his apples off. I make sure I give him his water, a horse, and a little bit of grass outside my apartment door and whatnot. I make sure I drop off his Ewo. Same thing with Papa. I make sure I drop it off after the 3rd day. Ogudu no Chosi, I do the same way. I go to railroad tracks. I'll go to the 3rd rung, or if you want to call that a rung, on the rail, and I'll make sure I leave his offering right there. And I say my prayer, and I'm gone and I'm out. So I do, after I venerate them, go to their portals. But I just thought that's not initiative. You know what I'm saying? You just can't just directly. You shouldn't. I mean, even though it is nature, but that you should be careful and have a little bit of training if you want to do that. You know what I mean? And see the thing, we do have a river, but that river's so dirty. I do not want to offer that offering to Mama Ocean. I do not want to get in trouble. So she understands I do my little 5 days and I'll properly dispose it the way I know how to, and, you know, or put it out in nature. But yeah, they know. Like if I had that ocean and stuff like that, I'll be there.
At least you know where I stand. But even though there are certain things that I may disagree with how you do things, again, who am I to tell you about your lived experience? And if what you do has moved mountains for you in your life, I have heard stories of people that have they have something that let's say like an elegua, like that lady that makes her own eleguases. Maybe it comes out in a reading one day that even though she's been honoring something that's not there, like she doesn't have elegua received, but she's been honoring the energy of elegua, and then one day she actually receives elegua, and it comes out elegua loves her in a reading or something. I can't tell someone about their personal lived experience. I can look at what I know as valid or invalid, but at the end of the day, you have had your personal experiences with Oya and Obatala and Chango and everything that walks with you within your house and the energy that you work with. So it's a toss-up between me saying a person's a sancochero and mixing shit that they shouldn't. And
as you saw, I got my 7 African powers. I only have 7 altars. I only have 7 altars dedicated to them. I have my main set, and I can't work Arunula because obviously I haven't received the hymn of Ifa, and you know I'm not a prophet of the child, so death stay away from me. Like I can't wear that. You know what I mean? That would be, to me, that would be a falsehood. That's like being like yes, I do have LKs, but the thing was they were blessed and prepared from the individual that I'm the understudy of. He properly did the prayers, the rituals, and everything.
But is he crowned? Is he a crowned Olocha?
He is in Vudan. He
He doesn't have a Risha on his head.
No. He gave me my Coyardes for Vudan.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have none for a reason because they haven't been received, and even I know that I can't go to the Botanica and consecrate them myself. That isn't legit. You see what I mean? So it's like it's a lot that I know. And then another thing is about divination. You know, I haven't never got out of line about speaking on divination because I would never impose like a Charlatan Mayor that you know you can divine with 4 cowrie shells. that's not even halfway legit if you're not in Ordiate. You know, you have to know how to work the system before, because you know that's like yes and no answers. But to work 16 cowrie shells, you have to have gone through the chamber. So you know, I try to express that in my second video. Like, I'm not gonna be like the rest of these guys that's not initiated, tell you information that not is. I'm not initiated, but I got enough metaphysical sense to let you know right information. You may not like my perspective of how I do it because I'm not initiated, but I will give you qualified information. I try to break that down for them about the cowrie shells and certain things, and certain ways that you give ebos and certain spirits that you call on at certain times. A lot of people in Voodoo don't know that Papa Legba he works shifts. So in Haitian Voodoo, he's not at the crossroad at 12 midnight. It's a different entity. So anybody's uninitiated not knowing better, they will go there at midnight and get themselves in trouble because that's not Legba there. It's his evil twin brother, or Legba Met Kalfu. I don't like saying evil twin brother. I just look at him as a very, very dark principle that you don't want to mess with. That's all. That's all. And as you see, I got enough sins not to burn my house down. You know, that's all. That's all. And I respect for the initiated. That'd probably be my last video on anything dealing with orishas.
Well,
it's just a respectful thing.
No,
it's a respectful thing.
I totally get it. But you heard what I said. I'm an advocate for the whole idea of even if
and thank you for not attacking me. Thank you for not attacking me and talking to me. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Because I get people on my channel, like when I do the Sancocho series, that say I'm like attacking the person. I don't attack people's character. There are certain things that people do that I notice. Okay, you don't make your own elegua, and I'm a chill person, so I like to put humorous spins on things. Right. But I figured, let me see if I can get in contact with Soul Consciousness TV, this individual, before trying to do any video on him, so I can get out of the horse's mouth what he's talking about, and just try to understand you and your practices more. Because there are people out there, like it seems like everybody that I've done a video on, even if I disagree with what they're doing, a lot of these people, they seem like sweet individuals who either they're bullshitting on purpose, or they've just been taught differently, at the best differently, at the worst wrong. But if what they do works for them, that's when it becomes I have to be mindful. Like I can't be like, yo, all the statues you got in your house, ain't no Chango, ain't no nothing. When if that nigga's moving mountains for you, then God bless you, man.
You can't work with Shango and be broke.
Word. And I hope that eventually you do find a house that you feel comfortable with.
I might be under you one day.
What?
I might be under you one day. You never know. You never know. If y'all willing to have me, you never know. You never know.
I'm still learning myself. I got people saying, oh man, there was a bunch of slander about me saying like I got a bunch of people initiated and that I'm a palero doing all these crazy things. I don't have no God kids and nothing. So people talk a bunch of shit on the internet. I don't got no God kids. I'm still learning. But you know, I'm an advocate for say what it is you want to say, speak your truth, whether I or anybody else agrees with it or disagrees with it. The people who, if you do videos on Orisha, even if the people disagree with it, you do what the hell it is you want to do.
But you gotta be careful because you also offend the spirits. It'd be more than the godparents and the Baba Laos and the Ianifas coming after you. You offend the spirits. Ogun's gonna punish you in a way that you won't like, and we know that Shango brings his children, so gotta be very careful. and I heard about one ceremony that somebody brought a non-initiate, which I don't know why they brought them for if they're not properly trained or don't know nothing about anything. They stole a peacock feather from my Moshun. A week later, they died of a stomach virus. So I have enough metaphysical sense not to know that, and I know that the female orishas are more aggressive than the male orishas. So even if you saw my setup, I have Shango and I have Ogun separated. Even though that in higher trains of thoughts with higher priests would teach that or would suggest that, well, we teach this to you guys, the generic stories that they fought, that they're enemies, but in reality they're really not enemies. And then some people say the same thing with Oya and Yemeya. I've been taught in Voodoo from one of my teachers that Yemeya tricked Oya, showed her the greenery of a backyard of a cemetery because Oya was tired of the water. And then when they switched, when not, she gave her the graveyards and she took the water, and that's why they fight. But then from a higher train of thought, they say is that when you're in a ceremony, I guess it's a conflict with one being crowned or the other, to where they can't both be together or something like that.
It has to do with I mean, that's a whole topic in itself.
You see what I mean? But I don't know because I'm not initiated.
In 8-9, in how do you say 9? Unle Osa, 8-9. Basically, the betrayal of the ram. The reason why Oya and Yemaya can't be together in the same room when it comes to ceremony is because Yemaya eats with Chango and they eat ram together. Oya does not take ram.
That's
Oya
right.
doesn't like smell of ram or anything.
That's right.
So, feeding Yemaya and Chango, they take Oya out of the room because she still kept her promise, even though the ram betrayed her. She kept her promise that she will not be in the presence of the ram being killed.
And this
so that creates the schism between Yemaya and Oya. But there's this, you know.
Thank you.
So,
and you know, if you notice, when I was teaching the stories or speaking on certain things, I never spoke of nothing beyond me that I can get later on. Somebody's initiated come down and be like, you told that shit all the way wrong, bitch, we're coming after you. So I try to really stay in my lane, you know, and that's why I made very clear in my wording that not all the stories are the same. According to your house, stories might be a little bit different. But, you know, there are 4 volumes. You have to learn the volumes, you know, and these volumes help you to be able to divine on the individual and build the story of who's on their head, you know. All this, you know, ties together. So I was trying to be very correct, and I didn't want to say certain things like that and not know the true reason why. I understand the true science behind it, because I also understand that Shango was scared of the dead. So at one point in time, Oya brought the graveyard of the cemetery to a house because she was tired of him cheating, and trapped him inside the house. So Shango disguised himself, put himself in a dress, and hopped out the window. He was gone.
Yeah.
But like I say, I'm not initiated, so I have to be careful, because see, I will offend somebody. But now, as you see in my growth, you see, oh, he's learning. He's learning. He's not all the way there yet, but he's a whole lot better than when I saw him 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, I would have choked this guy right here. But now today, I'll have a conversation, and I'll look back up some of them like I'm kind of embarrassed. I kind of want to take him down. I really do, especially that first one with the leg. I kind of want to take that one down. I'm a little embarrassed about that one, and I apologize to Pop about that one too.
Well, then ain't nothing wrong with doing that and showing your growth, man. Do a video talking about your growth with the legua. Talk about your past, and maybe even do like a commentary video analyzing that video,
right?
And talking about the corrections, you know.
Right.
Just always looking for new content, but I mean, do you got any questions for me, man? This was a wonderful interview. I appreciate your candidness. Again, no one's trying to attack you or anything. Even if a person can, I'd rather agree to disagree and have civil conversation and get to understand each other, instead of just say, oh no, this is wrong, this is horrible, and just attack a person.
Because I do have the knowledge and I do understand the basic principles of how the system should work from a non-initiatory perspective. But like I said, I can only do at the level of devotee. Anything other than that is beyond me in my knowledge, because the mind can't teach what it doesn't know if you're not initiated and you've been through the chambers and earned those rights. So, you know, I totally understand the concept, and that's why you see me with my statues, because, you know, those are things that I bought, you know, so I would understand from an initiate's perspective that there's nothing there, you know, but, you know, I understand that there's nothing there, but I understand as a focal point, as my form of just, you know, honoring them and say, you know, it's not necessarily the dollar price, but it's the thing that, hey, I would like to work with you and I'm willing to do anything. So I would at least want to set correspondences up that correspond to you, even though it may be the way that you would have set up an altar, because you'd be like, man, we wouldn't do this shit. Man, I'm initiated. What the fuck is this right here? You know what I mean? But you understand where I'm coming from. At least he understands the basic principles. He understands the stories, and he is giving out correct information. I just disagree with his altar setup and how they're set up. You know what I mean? Because I would have set it up that way. But I would rather be upset with me about that than be upset with me about the altar setup and position, which I did try to do it the right way, because Shango goes in the living room or by the fireplace. So not so much the feng shui, but just
like that of Chango having to be somewhere specific. I know Obatala, he goes higher than everybody else.
Right.
The Dilogun will tell you, okay, Chango wants to live at the front door. He wants to be hidden. He wants to be like, not every Elegua is gonna live behind the back door. It's gonna be in the Dilogun.
Got you.
Like Chango, he's got to be in the living room because that's where the fireplace is. Maybe Chango wants to be hidden. Maybe Chango wants to be someone really high to see who's coming in and out of your house. Maybe Chango wants to be left in the Igbo Doom. Maybe Chango wants to be in the kitchen for whatever reason. And it will dictate within the Dilogun with the shell speaking themselves, Tanto speaking him or herself, saying where they want to be. So there's just certain things that you do or say that I side eye and I go, well, it would be not every Elegua has got to be here. Not got to be here. So just keep in mind, like, it's the Dilogun that's gonna say where the Orisha wants to be. Chango doesn't go above a fireplace because it's fire. Does Chango want to live above the fireplace because he wants to live above the fireplace, or does he want to be kept hidden, or he wants to, whoever, some Orishas, maybe Oya wants to live above the door of the house so she can see who's coming and going. Or Ochun wants to live above the door. Anything. It could be a matter of anything. They can live anywhere. Some people keep their Elegua not at the front door. Some keep them maybe hidden inside of a little cupboard. So he still leaves if he wants to be hidden. There's a whole factor of things, but it comes out in Dilogun. It's all dictated in Ita.
And this is what we needed from you from an initiate's perspective. I also watched a video a long time ago with a Babalao who had an issue. And he said basically along the same guidelines as you. He said you have to learn how to talk. You have to learn how to navigate, how to divine with your issue. Because a lot of you just throw things on issue and give him offerings, not knowing if he wants it or not, you could be pissing him off. So he said you have to do the divinations, you have to know the prayers, you have to know how to communicate. So I understand that from an initiate's perspective, that does make sense. It won't depend on you, it depends on them. I like that.
And for me, it's a rule of thumb to know whether a person has Orisha or not. Can you throw Obi to that Orisha? Because you can't throw Obi at a statue. You can't throw Obi at a. You can't throw Obi at a spiritual Elegua.
Right. That's why I don't divine. That's why I don't divine. That's why I don't divine. You know what I'm saying? I was letting them know that. I was like, look, it's a difference between an Oriate divining with 4 coward shells and you. You don't know the prayers. You haven't been initiated. You don't understand the full science. It won't work the same for you as it worked for them. It's like really you're not connected with anything. You're talking to air. And I even let them know that the principle of Elegua, or Papa Legba, if you deal with the Buddha, be initiated or not initiated. If you don't go to the messengers first, you're speaking to the air. And if you get him upset, he'll block you off from all your Loas, your Orishas, and you won't communicate with none of them. So, in principle, if you don't know anything, and you're trying to start off on the wrong foot, at least know who the messenger is and know his correspondences.
Because there's protocols, and a lot of people, I think there's an impression, this idea that I don't want to get initiated or do anything because things cost money, and I don't want someone to tell me who I can and cannot speak to. I totally understand that. But at the same time, with initiation comes what's called the licencia de ache. When you're working and you're scrubbing plants and herbs, when you're rogating someone's head, when you're birthing an Orisha, when you're moyubando and saying the prayers for the Lagoon or whatever, because you have Orisha firmly seated on your head, you can do things that someone who has not had that ceremony done, they can do the same thing. They can get a bunch of rocks from a river and say they got Ochun. They can get a bunch of plants and they can do that and say they got Ochun and they got this and that.
But it won't work.
They have on their head, that Ache to give legitimacy to any of what they're doing is not existent. So it's finding that balance of, well, this is called la regla de ocho, the rules.
The rules. And when he says Ashe, he's talking about power. If you haven't been empowered, you have no Ashe behind it. You have no power behind it.
And they say, oh, well, I have Ashe because I have Ori. Everybody has Ori, and the head is an Orisha Ori. Pero that Ori does not have an Orisha sitting on top of it. So there's still no Ashe. You have Ashe as a human being, and Olofi breathe life into you and all that. Yes,
Olofi, exactly.
But you have to have the ceremony done. And these are all things that goes against the Western ideology that, no, I want to talk to God on my own. Yes, you talk to God on your own. But you want to talk to Elegua, Ogun, Ochosi, and Obatala.
It's a different principle.
Yes, it has protocols and principles that need to be abided by, or else you're not talking shit. But I can appreciate that that you do acknowledge that. And thank you. We're at like the two minute.
Yeah. I don't want to stop. I almost want to go another one, but I want you to do a post video after this too, like just without me, about your comments and thoughts about the conversation to your platform.
Definitely. But I would say, my dude, and to anybody listening who have like altars at the house when it comes specifically about Orisha. I've spoken to my Malina about this. That if you want to talk to Ochun, you go to a river. Please, my dude, don't feel like you can't go to a river because you can't go to that portal. You want to talk to Ochun, you go to Ochun's house. The same way you want to talk to me, you gotta knock on my door. That's it. So you want to talk to about that? Don't feel like you can't go to a mountain because I'm not initiated. That you go to the area and nature where they live and you speak to them direct. You want to talk to Elegua, go to the crossroads. You want to talk to Ogun or Chosi, go to the forest, so on and so forth. So
And I know
would
that she was glad that.
do that as opposed to having altars in the house. You go to Oya
Right.
and you put the 9 eggplants and you leave a candle and you talk to Oya direct. Because if you got a reading right now and they said you got to give a bowl to Oya, you don't have the Santero do the ebo for you. You go and you take the 9 eggplants and you leave the derecho at the cemetery.
And thank you for the clarification because see, a lot of initiatives will explain that you can't do this, can't do that. But see, I'm glad you explained the why. And as you saw, I know you appreciate the information I was giving out too, because I was letting them know that veves is more of a new world thing. In traditional African traditional religions, they don't use veves. That's a made up concept once it got over here. So
like in Benin, it don't exist, right?
Yeah. So I try to let them know that even though I'm not initiated, I still know the proper information, and I don't want to lead you astray. And see, now you understand my premise is I'm talking to those that are kind of like me, kind of in between the middle somewhere, trying to find themselves, and maybe don't have all the answers, but from my experiences, this has worked for me, and it might work for you. I'm not saying that this is the way, but from a non-initiate perspective, that this worked for me, as opposed to an initiate perspective, because I can't speak on an initiate perspective because I'm not initiated. So that was always the thing I tried to specify.
What goes on in Benin is different than what goes on in Haiti.
Right, two separate.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I'm gonna end it right here, and then we're gonna continue. Okay, thank you.
Yep, we good. Break smoke. And see, that's all I want to do is understand where I'm coming from. That's all.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to smoke nobody. I just want you to understand that as a non-initiate, you can't work these things. Whoa, you got that? What?
Yeah.
We watching this?